Year's coming to a close, and a lot of people are doing everything they can to get ready for Christmas. And even though the year hasn't ended just yet, a lot of people have gone on record and decided what they consider to be the best video game of this year. For example, the Game Awards decided that Astro is the best video game of 2024, which is something that's subjective. But at the same time, I haven't really seen a game like Astrobot on a PlayStation console in quite some time. And the reason I say that is because you look at Astrobot, it's pretty much like it's like your typical like action adventure type of video game on on a PlayStation 5, a console that normally features T-rated or M-rated games, and it's something that a lot of people have been going crazy about prior to its release, and it's something that people have been praising following its release. And it's a game that has done at least 1.5 mil in sales since its release back in September. And I feel like Astrobot is one of those games that the PlayStation 5 or just PlayStation consoles in general have been lacking in for the most part because it seems like Sony tries to appeal more to young adults when it comes down to their video games with blood, gore, violence, profanity, all that stuff. And I don't know, maybe it's something that's gotten kind of old, or maybe it's something that a lot of people really don't care too much about, depending on the IP. But I do feel that Astrobot is something that it reminds people of the good old days of the PS1 where you had titles like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon and all that stuff because they were basically action adventure platformers that were simplistic that people can sink their teeth into with characters and mascots that people can easily, get into. And this is a game that has been compared to the likes of like Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, games like that for the most part, which is actually a pretty good thing because a game like Astrobot, a lot of people felt like Nintendo was the only like company that was capable of making games like this. And I feel like Astrobot is kind of like to me it's like Sony's version of Super Mario Odyssey in terms of like level design, in terms of graphics, in terms of replayability and all that other stuff. And Astrobot is a game that ended up being voted as the best video game of 2024 over the likes of Black Myth Wukong and over the likes of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and even Metaphor and Fantasio, which is something that too many casuals in America probably are not really aware of. But at the same time, for those who are like hardcore fans of video games in general, you look at that game, you realize that it's a masterpiece. So in relation to 2024, I really didn't expect as many good games that as we got in relation to this year. And honestly, I think 2024 has been a solid year in relation to video game releases. Not quite on the same level as 2023, but solid nonetheless. And games like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Tekken 8, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, um, like Dragon's Dogma 2, Persona 3 Reload, games like that. I feel like, 2024 has been a pretty solid year nonetheless. And like I said, Astrobot being the best video game of 2024 is something that's subjective, but at the same time, I think it's something that's fair because, it's a game that is pretty simplistic and appeals to the masses. And I'm pretty sure that the sales will continue to skyrocket as time goes on because I know right now it seems like a lot of video games can't even surpass like 3 mil or 4 mil in terms of sales. But Astrobot is a game that appeals to casuals. And I do feel that, between now and like, I guess, December of next year, a lot can change. And this game could definitely end up doing double in terms of sales that has done like so far. And, and yeah, like when it comes down to like, games in general, it seems like Sony for the most part has been doing really good, whether it be action adventure, whether it be RPGs or what have you. Sony has been doing a pretty good job in general in terms of producing games that people actually give a damn about. And And I do feel that Astrobot, for the most part, is something that is going to have like a variety of sequels later down the line, because I think this is like officially like the fifth Astrobot game, because the first one came out back in 2013 and that was the Playroom. The prequel to Astrobot was Astro's Playroom from 2020, and I feel like that was a game for the most part that people liked, but I don't know, it didn't get the type of mainstream attention that the latest Astro game has gotten recently. But but yeah, Astrobot for the most part, the whole Astro series in general definitely has a bright future ahead of it. And hopefully, Sony does everything they can to try and capitalize off of the popularity of this franchise and to continue building a popular series that people can really become engaged in. And hopefully, it doesn't become irrelevant or just fade away like the Spyro or the Crash Bandicoot series did following the 90s.